Hello friends, welcome to my channel The Lens India Professional Photography. In this video, I'll be covering the topic about creating metadata when we are importing the files to the Lightroom. If you remember my first video, in that video where I have covered the quick overview of the Lightroom, I have touched upon the topic related to the metadata and I mentioned that I will be covering this topic in the subsequent videos. So metadata is something which is really important feature that we should understand, and since the Lightroom is also providing this feature, it is always recommended that we use this feature so that our images are protected. By and large, this metadata concept is usually ignored by many of the photographers, and we don't, as photographers, don't take it as seriously, and we much focus on the data like EXIF data, that is EXIF data. But EXIF data is just one part of the metadata, and metadata basically is much more than the EXIF data what we have usually, the data which is captured when we are taking the photographs in the background of our photographs. So let's try to understand how this metadata is, and what metadata we can enter and attach it to our photograph, so that whenever we are posting our images on various websites or online platforms, except of course Facebook or WhatsApp or Instagram, because Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, they strip the data of EXIF data or the metadata when we are transferring the files or posting it on the social media contents. But yes, many places this metadata is carried forward along with the image, and if someone is really using our image, we can easily find out whether the image is captured by us or not, and we can protect the copyrights of our images. So this is the main advantage of using the metadata or attaching the metadata to our images. So if you see the screen on the right hand side panel, you can see there is a tab called as metadata. So when we click this metadata, you can see that there are many options. There is one small drop down which is providing us various options to view that metadata. So one is, like, if you see the default. So default is something which will show you the minimum information about the image what we have captured. So for example, the copyright, who is the copyright owner of this image, who is the creator of this image, what is the rating of this image, when it is captured, and maybe the size of the image. So if you subsequently go to the all plugin metadata, so again it goes to the minimum level. Then if you are using the DNG file, so any DNG version, if it is there, it will start showing you here. Then this is the EXIF data. EXIF data is nothing but the information about the what camera we have used, what lens we have used, at what focal length it has been shot, what is the date and time the image has been captured. So this is the information which is basically picked up in the Lightroom when we capture our images on our camera. And this data is not easily editable data. So by and large, end user or any layman as such is not going to basically edit that. You will not be in position to edit that data, and that is how this data becomes very, very important for the photographer as such. The next is EXIF and IPTC data. So before going to this EXIF and IPTC data, I'll jump to this IPTC data. So IPTC data, if you see, the fields are much more different than the EXIF data. So mainly the fields are like who is the creator of the file, what is the job title, address, city, state or province, postal code, country, phone number, email, website, and so on and so forth, and who is the creator of the content, about the image, about the status, and all those things we can really fill in over here. So if now, for example, if this is copyrighted, you can just click it copyrighted. Then when we go to the EXIF and IPTC data, so this is nothing but the view of the EXIF data as well as the IPTC data. Now you can see the screen has changed. So on the top, the metadata which is shown is the first is the EXIF data, and followed by whatever we have seen in the IPTC data. Then again, if you go to IPTC extension, so this is the minimal view what we will see of the IPTC extensions. But apart from this, you can also, for example, if you are working with some advertising agency or with the model as such, then you can add the details of those particular shoots in this IPTC extension fields. Then large captions, if you want to give any caption to the image, you can give the caption to your images. Then location information, if your camera is having the GPS enabled functionality, this data usually will get automatically populated over here. But if you don't have, then definitely you have the facility to put in all the details of the location, including the GPS coordinates, altitude, direction, and all those parameters related to location. Then minimal is the view, which is just who is the copyright, owns the copyright, what is the rating. So these are the feature attributes which are shown over here. Then quick describe. So how do you describe your image? If you want to describe your image, this field is available. We can again add those image, this data in these fields which are shown as blanks. Then three-dimensional projections. So again, you have equal rectangle. This is not usually used feature. Then if you are shooting videos, then the information about the videos can be also entered in this metadata. So by and large, if you ask me what type of data do we use, for me, I normally prefer to use EXIF and IPTC data together. So so now suppose if we are on this IPTC data, so we can add the labels, we can add the title. For example, if I am writing this title as wildlife images, for example, then we have this, if we scroll down, we have the GPS information available. If you know the GPS information, coordinates, you can enter those coordinates. You can also add the contact details. So for example, my name is appearing here by default, because nowadays cameras have the information to write the comment and the copyright information, and image comments are possible. So the name and such things like the artist name and probably the user comment is already attached over here. Then my address is Pune, for example, city is Pune, and state is Maharashtra. So I'll just write the short abbreviation over here: postal code, country, region, phone number, email, like contact us at the rate the lensindia.com. So this is the email address. Then website is www.thelensindia.com. And maybe I can keep on adding the IPTC data if I need to fill those fields. And I think, yes, I think this much is sufficient for me. And once now this data is filled in, I need not to basically again go and save anywhere. So I can copy this same data for rest of the images, what I have already included over here. So what I'll do, I'll just select all the images, maybe by either select the first image, I'll press shift and then I'll select all the images. So this is one way, and you can see there is a button or tab called as sync. So if I press sync, then it will ask me, okay, do you want to synchronize all this data? So if I sync it, it will sync this data to all the images. Now if you see in this image also, now in the last image also, all the data what we have filled in got attached, right? So this is how we can add the data, and of course, means this is the very crude way to add the metadata. So the better method, now probably what I would like to show you is that when you go to this metadata, you have the presets. So you have, as of now, I have not created any preset as such, but then if you want to create your own preset, so you can create your own preset over here. So when you create your own preset, the screen is popped up. So for example, I want this basic information to be populated. So copy name is maybe you can say the name of the organization if you have. Then rating or label, if you want, you can add it or you can leave it as it is. Then GPS information as it is, it has been, I don't want rest of the fields to be entered. Then in IPTC copyright information, I would just want to change it to copyright. Rights to use systems, all rights reserved. So I want to enter this copyright info URL. You can say www.thelensindia.com. And what else? So I want this field also to be entered. I want this field also to be considered. And if you scroll down, you just go through it, and if you want anything to be entered, you can enter it, or you can just leave those columns blank. So just remember that whatever you want the particular fields to be attached, you need to enable those fields by applying the check mark over here. So once it is done, sorry, you just press the done. So it will pop up with a new window. If it will ask you whether you don't want to save it or you want to save as. So now save as. So I'll name it as TLI import preset, and I just create this preset. Now when I go here, you will see the preset has appeared over here. So now when we are importing these images, what we can do is when we go to the import functionality, and when we want to import any of the images, for example, so for just I'll select these images. So these are the images which I want to import. So when I'm ready for the import, I'll just go to the import, and then if I want to go to this apply during the import, here you have seen that what all you need to apply during the import. If you remember the first video, so develop settings, I've already explained that we don't, these are the presets what we want to do it, and then metadata. So now you can see that the TLI import preset is appearing over. So I just click this and I hit the import. Now you can see the images are getting imported. And the preview is being built up now. So the moment you import these images, so you can see over here that the preset has been applied, and all the EXIF data what we entered in the preset. So now this has been copied all across the image. So you can pick up any of the image, you will see that the import data, the metadata has been applied to all the images. So this is how is the easiest way to create the preset and attach the metadata to our images, so that our images are protected. And also one more thing what we can say is that if someone likes your image and if they are going to check the metadata, so they can easily see that whether the image is copyrighted image, and if it is copyrighted image, if they want to contact the person or the author of this image, they can easily pull out the data and contact us so that they don't violate any copyright of the image. And one more thing which I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video itself, that this creation of this metadata is basically available in this library module, and this will not be seen in any other modules of the Lightroom. So that's it for the metadata. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope this was a good learning for all of us. So I will be coming up with some new videos again for the series of this mastering Lightroom Classic CC. So stay tuned for my further videos. Thank you so much. Bye for now.